Are you adding video to your podcast? Do you have the question, what camera should I use? Well, we are going to have a responsible, reasonable discussion about that. Welcome back to another episode of Podcast at 2.0. My name is Brian. I am your host. Today, we're talking cameras. I am staring into one of the cameras on my recommended list, mainly because of quality and price. I think the camera looks pretty darn good. It is a Panasonic Lumix GX85 4K digital camera. Why did I go with this? I love the fact that it's mirrorless. If I need to take it off and go shoot some still, I can. We have 4 of them in the studio, 3 of them on stage, 1 of them here in the booth that I am using now. The price point was about $600 for a kit. I am actually using a kit lens right now. They also came with a longer lens for those farther away shots that I do deploy from time to time, depending on what we're doing on stage. But the price point for a mirrorless is pretty darn good. Listen, and when I first opened Sitch Radio, I did not want to do video. I was going to be an audio only house. However, customers asked, I had to supply. So I bought a Sony a6000, again, mirrorless, 4K quality, and put it on a tripod. As things grew in multiple angles, I needed 3 more cameras. So I priced out what I was getting, and the Lumix is what I went with. And again, multi-purpose, multiple lenses, and my opinion, they look great. I bought the battery pack that plugs into the wall, so they're constant power. I'm not changing batteries out. And then their HDMI converter cable for macro, minor, or whatever HDMI in camera to my HDMI switch that we have in the studio here. And they've held up, man. They've been workhorses. My only complaint is actually the cable, the HDMI cable. They'll tend to break off where it connects to the camera. So we've looped the cable and tethered it so there's not much strain on them. And to be perfectly honest, all the ones I've broken have been walking by and catching the cable, and they're getting a jolt of energy. So maybe not the cable's fault, most likely my fault. However, that's been the only complaint with these cameras. Now, again, prior to that, I was using a Sony a6000. From time to time, we've deployed a Logitech 1080p webcam. But I just found a cool camera, and I'm actually waiting to see a video that's being released next week that we actually use this camera on. Now, for a webcam, this thing is cool. Just over $200. It's the Avaya HC020 4K web camera. Now check this out. It has a fisheye lens, but that's when you zoom out. Yes, it comes with a remote control. You can zoom out, you can zoom in. Now, once you start to zoom in, you can pan and tilt, and it's all internal. So nothing's moving around to catch cables and pull anything on your desktop, which is very, very cool. So for the recording of feed drops this week, we put that on a tripod in studio because we've been using a Logitech 1080p camera for one of the video shots, and I've been using the Lumix here in the booth. So I can't wait to see what that video looks like. Now, on screen, his video was crisper than mine. They're both 4K cameras. But comparing the Avaya HC020 to the Logitech 1080p, night and day. The picture is so much clearer. It operates better in low light. Now, are these your only options? No. And I know a lot of people are really, really concerned about image quality when they're releasing video, which is understandable. Now, with that having been said, I know YouTube loves 4K right now. However, recording in 4K, editing in 4K, storing 4K, uploading 4K, YouTube rendering out 4K. It takes a lot of time, number one. Number two, most people, when they're streaming the video on YouTube, their wireless internet connection or internet connection can't download 4K. So they're degrading to 1080p, sometimes 720. I know some of the software, StreamYard, Squadcast, you can get to 1080 quality um, with the recording that they're using. So things are getting stepped on and stepped down anyway. So 4K, cool. There's 8K, there's 16K cameras out already, but most people can't stream at that level. They would have to download the video and then watch it if their monitor and or screen can handle that resolution. So there's trade-offs. And yes, I have my eye on cameras I want to deploy through the studio. And you can spend a lot of money on cameras. You can spend an okay amount on cameras, or you can cheap out. I wouldn't go cheap route. You know, I think that these cameras give a good quality for what it is that we're doing and have had very little complaint. And when I stepped up to the Lumix, people were stoked. They were happy about that. So if you are completely 100% just stuck on I need 4K, you know, play with your options. There's a lot of camera manufacturers out there. Blackmagic, Red Hat, Canon, Nikon, DSLRs, mirrorless. I mean, the list goes on and on. But think about what it is you want to accomplish and what's going to get that job done for you. If you visit the show notes down below, you will see a link, Podcasting on Your Own. On that page, there is information about a lot of products we recommend, to include the VIA HCO20 and the Lumix that we're using right now. So, with that having been said, wanting to add video is one thing. Lighting plays a huge role. I mean, obviously, my eyes are a little shadowed because I'm wearing a hat today. It's time for a haircut. Lighting plays a big role. Backlight. You know, the booth wasn't really set up to broadcast from. However, I'm choosing to. The stage, we've got different colored backlights and some cool stuff going on. But if you're going to roll out video, take a peek at everything that it is you're doing. And it can get pretty expensive. So, you know, buy what you can afford. If you can save a little money and put that into lighting or put that into something else that's going to add a step up to your video production. That is all I have for you today. I want everybody to have a great, awesome weekend. If you're watching live on Bullhorn, we thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube, Facebook, or anywhere else it's going to go, head on over to bullhorn.fm and check out the platform. Live video. We can add callers to the show. You can chat with other listeners, and you can ask questions in chat that can be addressed on the show. A lot of cool stuff happening at bullhorn.fm. We greatly appreciate them, and can't wait to see you guys in the studio here next time. Have a great weekend. Be safe, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.